Hi everyone, thank you for joining me in today's video. I've been debating on whether to buy or make my own Louise Carmen inspired journal, and I finally settled on making one myself. So that's what we'll be doing today. If you want to see how I made this silver journal, then keep on watching and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's start out with all of the supplies that you'll be needing to make this journal. Obviously, you're going to need leather or whatever fabric that you want to work with. I ordered this from a local seller on Etsy and I got this gorgeous chocolate brown crocodile skin leather. It's really pretty. It felt really soft and it was easy to work with. It's pretty thin, but unfortunately a lot of the leather pieces I got had markings on them. So I wasn't sure if I was going to use this today. But this silver one that I got was the one that I was most excited for. It looks so beautiful, and my inspo picture from Pinterest was basically a silver journal, and I thought that this would be perfect to use. It is a little bit see-through, but honestly that's fine. Once again, unfortunately, there were some markings on the inside of the leather, so I just used the piece that didn't have any markings, and I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the rest of them, but I will be using the silver one today. Originally, it was supposed to come in a 12 by 12 piece, but the seller didn't have that available, so they offered to give me 3 6 by 12 pieces, and I was like, that's fine. I originally wanted to make a cover for this beautiful pink journal that I found from the dollar store, but it wouldn't have fit anyways, so I'll have to find a different way to use this pink journal. So moving on to journals, obviously you're going to need those to make this cover. I picked up a few from Miniso, and then this is from a local dollar store, but I won't be using that. If you watched my last video, you'll see that we went to downtown Toronto and I went to Miniso and I picked up a few of these really small but cute journals. This one's blank, so I thought it would be perfect to insert in the journal that I'm making today. And then I also picked up this one. This one's pretty thin, but I feel like it's perfect for everyday use. I still haven't figured out what I'm going to be using these journals for, but for now they will be perfect for the small template that I'll be making today. Next, you'll need an elastic cord. Honestly, anything is fine, but you just need an elastic cord that's thick enough and stretchy. Next, you'll be needing grommets. I'm going to link the exact toolkit that I bought from Amazon for you guys in the description. I really like this one because it came with all these different colors and it had every single thing that you need. Next, you'll be needing a hammer and then something to protect the surface that you're working on. I just stole this from the garage. It's my dad's. Any hammer will work, but you need something to protect the surface you're working on. I'm working on my dining table, and if I were to just start punching holes through the leather, it would go through the table. This is a random wood sample that I also found in the garage. As you can see, it's pretty thick, so it would protect the table. So just something to protect whatever surface you're working on. Moving on to optional supplies, you don't really need these to actually make the journal, but if you want to add some charms and accessories, then this is what I'll be using. So I have a couple of charms that I either bought or thrifted. I'll be using the silver ones today, and then you need some pliers if you're going to be attaching the charms. These are some small paper clips, and then there's this bigger clip. Here I have all of my charms that I usually use when I'm making jewelry, but we'll go through them today and see what I want to use. So I found this amazing template from TikTok. There's this creator who has made so many great templates. I will be linking everything in the description down below. So as you can see, the leather that I bought is a pretty small piece. It's 6 by 12, and the template that I'm using, you need minimum 13 inches in length, so I'm gonna have to find my way around that. I think I'll just move the second piece around, but just go ahead and cut the template and follow the instructions that are on there. So usually you would just connect the 2 points and then you would just tape it along that line, but I'm gonna have to adjust it to fit my leather piece, so you can see I'm doing that. Now the template calls for having one hole in the middle. That's where you would put the elastic that would wrap around the entire journal, but I want to add 2. This is one that I made with fake leather. I made this for my mom and I used some bigger grommets, and you can see in the back that there's 1, but I think I want to make 2 because I had this issue when I was tying the cord together. It just looked really bulky and weird, so I think I can solve that by just making 2 holes in the back instead. I'm going to go ahead and round out the corners. I'm just going to use scissors, but if you want, you can also buy specific leather cutting tools that round out corners. That's what it's looking like so far, and honestly, I can already see the vision coming true. I'm just going to go ahead and fix any of the round marks. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about the grommet toolkit, because when I first made the journals, I kind of struggled, so I don't know if this was just me or if this might be helpful to other people. So you're usually going to get 2 of these little sticks. One is for actually cutting out the leather, which is the one that I'm holding. This is actually going to cut through the leather. You're going to get another one of these. This one you would use with this other little circular tool that I'm holding. This goes underneath the leather, and then you would take the stick and then it would go over the leather. This is going to help fasten the washers to the actual grommets. I think first I'm going to go ahead and cut out the holes through the paper so it makes it easier when I'm going to cut through the leather. So again, we're going to go in with this tool and you're just going to hammer away. And then you're going to get a hole through the paper. So this is what it's going to look like. As you can see, I did go ahead and add that second hole in the middle, and I'm pretty happy with that. So let's move on to actually punching through the leather. I flipped it over so the lining would be facing me, and then I lined the template up. I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it, but this is just how I did it. Just to secure the paper to the leather, I did use a paper clip just to hold everything in place. So again, we're going to go back in with this tool, and you're just going to line it up with the holes that you made through the template earlier. This just makes it easier to actually see what you're doing. This is what it looks like. Honestly, I'm really happy with how things are going so far. This was pretty easy to do, and now we're just going to be adding the grommets in. So I'm going to go with the silver ones. I think that's going to match what I have perfectly. We need 10 in total, so I'm just going to grab 10 of those. This is what it's going to look like, and the part that's facing the camera right now, this is what's going to be facing the nice side of the leather. So you can punch it through with your hands, or you can use the tool that I was showing earlier. You just push it through the leather. I'm not going to lie, I did struggle a little bit with this. This is what it's looking like after I've inserted the grommets, and you'll see that it does stick out a little bit. That's why we need to add the washers and hammer everything in place. So now we'll be using the washers and the other tools that we were talking about earlier. So you're just going to do your best to line up this tool with the hole that's coming through from the leather. Then you just insert the washer on top of that. You're going to take your tool and then you're going to line everything up and then hammer away. I went in with a pretty heavy hand. I don't know if you have to go in with a heavy hand, but I just wanted to make sure that everything would be secure. And then this is what it's going to look like. It will no longer be popping out from the side, and everything should be nice and secure. I just repeated those very steps for every single one. Now it's really starting to look like one of those journals, and I was pretty excited at this point. So I kept this part in because I did make a little bit of a mistake that you'll see. I basically just cut my cord a little bit too short, and then when I went to tie it together, it made the leather cave in a little bit too much. You should have a little bit of caving, but not as much as I did. So I did keep my mistake in just so you guys can see what not to do. Here I was thinking that I could just measure it out to be the length of the journal and then another half. Something was a little bit off, so when I fixed this, I made sure that I cut a lot of extra length. You know, it's easier to cut away than it is to add on. Let's go ahead and actually thread the cord through. I just followed some tutorials that I saw on TikTok. So this end of the cord is going to go through the second hole. And then the other end is just going to go through the bottom. And then when you pull it through, it should look something like this. For the top portion, you're going to thread it through the bottom hole first. And then just bring it back around through the top hole. When I saw how it was looking, I kind of did realize, like, okay, maybe I cut the cords a little bit too short, because tying it was very difficult, and you'll see that it made the leather cave in way too much. You do want to have a little bit of bowing, but not too much, because it can be a little bit difficult to insert the journals. So that was my mistake that I made. I did use the lighter to get rid of the frayed ends of the cord where we cut, and then I just repeated the same steps that I walked you through for the second one. So this is me realizing it wasn't looking how I wanted it to look, and I wasn't sure. I was like, let me try adding the journals to see if that would make it any better, but honestly it didn't. Flipped it over, and then this was the issue I was having. The leather was looking really weird and not how it was supposed to look. I thought that if I added the journals it would fix that mistake, but really it didn't. I feel like it just made it look a lot worse. Yeah, so you can see this is what it was looking like after I inserted the journal, and I was like, okay, no, I need to restart. So I don't know why I tried putting the second one in thinking that it would fix how it looked, but it didn't. After fixing it, you can see it looks so much better. It's not caving in as much. My journals are going in perfectly fine. So I fixed it for both, repeated the same steps, and it was looking a lot better. I'm really glad that I went back and fixed that. Let's do the actual closing that's going to hold the journal together. I also prefer having the two holes here rather than the one. That's just my preference. You can totally do just the one and it would look just fine. And this is what it's looking like. So now we're gonna go ahead and add the charms, decorate it however you want. So I wanted to add this big heart charm on the actual closure. This is what it's looking like after I added it in. And then I wanted to add a couple of charms on the sides here as well. It was looking so cute. I'm really glad that I went with the silver leather. It's absolutely gorgeous. Here is the journal, totally completed. I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple of more accessories, and I'll show you what it fully looks like. Here is the completed journal. I just added the paper clips. I love that there's so much that you can do with these journals. You can really decorate it and personalize it. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I'm gonna go and make like 50 more of these journals because it's so fun to make. Hope you guys try this out, and if you have, I would love to know what color your journal is. And I'll see you guys in the next one.